Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Evelyn. I'm so excited to finally start decorating for Christmas, my favorite time of the year. There's truly nothing like adding that magical touch of the holidays to make a home feel warm, cozy, and festive. For today's video, we're focusing on my entryway. I'll be decorating this entire space, including setting up a new Christmas tree. Now to start, I focused on a small hallway nook. It's just a simple blank wall, but I love transforming it into something cheerful and full of Christmas charm each year. This year, I'm styling two new stockings I purchased from Lulu in Georgia. I paired them with a wall hook I've had for a while, and together they create such a beautiful focal point. To hang the stockings, I used some ribbon to tie them onto the wall hook, and then I secured the wall hook with push pins. It's super lightweight, so it holds up perfectly. Since the stockings arrived with a few wrinkles, I gave them a quick seam to make them look fresh and polished. This is such a minor detail, but I feel like it makes such a big difference. It makes the whole space look put together and more clean. Next, I added a large pot from Olive Atelier, and I placed my 4-foot Christmas tree from an old Studio McGee collection. I thought both of them would look so pretty and it would make the tree look more vintage and rustic. I love the way it turned out, and although this exact tree isn't available anymore, you can find similar styles at Target or Walmart. There are lots of affordable options out there. To bring the tree to life, I wrapped it with my favorite twinkle lights from Target. I love these lights. They're super affordable. I believe right now they're $3, and they have the prettiest subtle twinkle. It makes the space feel so cozy and magical. I also added a wooden sleigh I found at HomeGoods last year and paired it with vintage bells from Cottage and Key Home. They're super affordable and add that rustic, timeless charm I always love incorporating into my holiday decor. Finally, I hung a small piece of art to balance the space. The frame is from Petal Lane Home and the print is one I used last year. I simply layered it over the frame and placed it beside the stocking, and it tied everything together so beautifully. This little entryway nook now feels so warm, festive, and inviting. Every time I walk by, it instantly makes me smile. It's amazing how a few thoughtful details can completely transform a small space and bring the magic of Christmas to life. So here in my entryway, I have this opening and I really want to add some garland, maybe a big red bow. I'm not too sure what I'm going to be doing yet, but that is my vision and I really wanted to just feel grand here. So I already got started and hung some of these command hooks that I got on Amazon. These are the best ones that I have tried. They're the strongest. They are these from Amazon. They come in a pack of 12. They're very good, but they are also very strong. So when I first used them on my wall, it ripped my wall off. So I started just adding some painter's tape and then sticking the command hook onto that. So kind of like this. So I would add painter's tape to the wall and then I would stick this. And I tried it here, but the garland is very heavy. So I ended up just peeling it off of the painter's tape and it kind of lost some of its stickiness. So I ended up just sticking it onto the wall, and I'm hoping that it does not rip off my drywall, but I don't think it's as strong since it was originally stuck onto this. So I'm going to be hanging the garland right now, and I'm also going to be DIYing a big bow. So like I mentioned, I want a big red bow just draping down on the side, and I couldn't find a fabric that would be long enough. I believe my ceilings are 9 feet long, so I would have to get 9 feet of fabric just to get a strip from that fabric to get to the tails of the bow. So I ended up just ordering some sheets off of Target, and they are this beautiful red colors. So I'm going to be using the pillowcase for the bow part, and then for the tail of the bow I am going to be using the flat sheet, so hopefully it comes out really good. The first thing I did was grab an old pillow I had on hand. I believe this one is from Target and it costs under $10, super affordable. I cut it open through the middle and began removing some of the stuffing. I wanted the pillow to have a bit of volume but not look too puffy or overly pillow-like. I kept folding it in half to check the shape, removing more stuffing until it looked just right. Once I was happy with the shape, I placed it inside the red pillowcase and used some hemming tape to seal it shut. If you've never used hemming tape before, it's such a great no-sew option. No need for a sewing machine or even hot glue. You simply tuck in the edges, apply the double-sided tape, and press down to secure it. I found mine at Michael's for around $2 to $3 and it worked perfectly. Next, I pinched the middle of the pillow to create the shape of a bow, and using some leftover fabric, I cut a small strip to tie around the center to hold it in place. To create a clean and polished look, I then took another piece of fabric, I folded in the edges neatly and wrapped it around the center of the bow. Again, I used the same hemming tape to attach the ends and secure it together. Now for the bow tails, I used the flat sheet, which happened to be the perfect length for my ceilings. I cut about a 10-inch section for one side of the bow, making a small slit with fabric scissors and then tearing the fabric down to create a natural frayed edge. I didn't go all the way to the end of the flat sheet. I stopped right at the little border on the top, and I then repeated this for the second side, ensuring both pieces were the same length, and then I was able to cut through that border part. Once both tails were ready, I looped them through the center of the bow, and since that little border part connects them, they just hang nicely like they are the tails of the bow. To hang my garland, I used command hooks like I mentioned earlier. I did apply some painter's tape first to the back of them so that they lost some of the adhesive and they weren't too strong. My garland is from diylargebow, and although I believe they don't sell it anymore, I'll link it if it's still available. It's a gorgeous 9-foot cedar garland, very full and heavy. The Hobby Lobby garland is just as full, so that's a great option if you are looking for one. Where the 9-foot garland ended, I attached a 6-foot garland from the same brand, layering it to create a natural drape toward the floor. The two blended seamlessly and added a lush cascading look to the wall. Now to hang the bow, I used the same small fabric strip I had tied around the middle and looped it through one of the existing command hooks on the wall. It held up really well, but I wanted the bow to lay a little flatter, so I did use some safety pins to attach the back of the bow to the garland. This helped spread it out and made the center of the bow more visible, which was exactly the look I was going for. For a finishing touch, I added a few red berry stems from Target that I purchased last year. I just placed them throughout the garland to tie in the red tones and add texture and depth. And last but not least, I wanted this to have that magical glow look, so I wrapped my favorite twinkle lights from Target yet again. They are just so good and so affordable. I love how warm and magical they look. This DIY project turned out even better than I imagined. It's super simple to do, budget friendly, and adds the perfect wow factor to my entryway. I also wanted to add a small Christmas touch to my wall sconces. I've done this in previous years and it's such a simple way to make them feel festive. I use these mini swags I created from a few cedar stems I got from Target a couple of years ago. I also tied some bows using this beautiful ribbon from Amazon. It's the perfect deep red and it ties beautifully with the large DIY bow. Moving on to the console table, I really wanted to add a festive moment here that still felt elegant and true to my style, so I started by draping a few berry stems that I purchased from Magnolia Home this year. They're such a beautiful red and I love the texture they add. To hang them, I used a few clear command hooks placed above my mirror and I gently draped the stems across. For the console styling, I started with 2 coffee table books and I placed this stunning Santa bust that I found at home. It immediately caught my eye. It has such a vintage feel and I love the size too, so I thought it would be perfect to style right under the draping stems. Next to that, I added a set of Santa letters I got from Amazon. They come with little envelopes and stickers. I thought they'd be so cute displayed on my entryway table, so I styled a couple of the letters and then I placed a vintage sleigh I've had for years. I also tucked a few more inside of it and it kind of gives the idea that this is our little letters to Santa station, which I think is such a sweet touch. I ended up pulling a small piece from the draping stem and placed it hanging off the sleigh to make it all look cohesive, and on the other side of the table I added another coffee table book and placed a small easel for McGee & Co on top. I wanted to display this beautiful Christmas print that I found on Etsy. It's a gorgeous tree with a neutral toned bow. I printed it at home on cardstock paper, which always gives a much nicer finish than regular paper. I'll link the one that I use down below. It's my absolute favorite. I placed the print inside a Zara Home frame that has a beautiful linen backing and I just layered the print right on top so it looks like it has a linen mat around it. And I of course wanted to add a little Christmas charm, so I used a cedar napkin ring from the Hearth and Hand line at Target as a mini wreath. I've done this in previous years and I just love the way it looks, so I tied a small bell to it using the same red ribbon I used earlier on my sconces and finished it with a bow. Since I reused the ribbon from last year, it was a bit wrinkled, so I gave it a quick steam. It's such an easy trick to make reused ribbon look brand new again. I also looped through some very thin ribbon and I added some tape, and that is how I attached it to the back of the frame. And I do wish that I had the print either bigger or maybe a little lower so that you can still see it, but regardless, I love the way it looks. I feel like it just ties everything together so beautifully. And last but not least, I did take some time to steam everything: the fabric from the DIY bow, the ends of the bows, and the ribbon on my sconces, just to make sure everything looked crisp and polished. The finished space feels grand, elegant, and exactly what I was envisioning for this Christmas season. I'm so happy with how it all came together. The last thing for today's video is setting up our new Christmas tree. This year I really wanted to bring back that nostalgic, colorful feel to our holiday decor for my daughters. They are getting older and they absolutely love colorful lights, so I wanted to create something that felt fun and magical for them while still having the warm lights that I love as well. I ended up finding the perfect tree at Lowe's for around $300 and it's truly beautiful. I didn't even have to fluff it up. I just assembled it and it looked amazing right away. It comes with both warm lights and colorful lights, plus a twinkle feature and many other features too. Even the colorful lights twinkle, which makes it feel extra special. My daughters absolutely love it. Seeing how happy they are makes me love it even more. Our previous tree only had warm lights, and while I still love that one and will definitely keep it, this new one just feels so nostalgic and full of joy. It is about a half foot smaller than our old tree, but I actually love the shape and how it fits in our space. I went ahead and set it up so I can start planning out how I'm going to be decorating it, so stay tuned for my upcoming Christmas decorating videos. I hope you enjoyed today's video and seeing how I styled our entryway for the holidays. I appreciate all of you so much for spending time with me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!